Once upon a time, in a faraway kingdom, there was a charming princess named Isabella. She was known throughout the land for her beauty, her kind heart, and her enchanting smile. Her parents, the king and queen of the realm, were proud of their daughter and the way she represented their kingdom with grace and elegance. Isabella had everything she could ever want, but she was not a spoiled princess. Instead, she spent her days helping the people of her kingdom and making sure that everyone was happy. She would visit the poor and the sick, bringing them food and medicine, and would listen to their stories with empathy and understanding. One day, a young prince from a neighboring kingdom came to visit Isabella's kingdom. The moment he saw her, he fell under her spell. He was struck by her beauty and her kindness, and he knew that he had to win her heart. The prince and the princess spent many days together, riding horses, having picnics, and talking about their hopes and dreams. They quickly became the best of friends, and everyone in the kingdom could see how much they enjoyed each other's company. As the days passed, the prince realized that he was in love with Isabella. He knew that he had to tell her how he felt, but he was afraid of being rejected. Finally, he mustered up the courage to confess his love to her. Isabella was surprised, but she felt the same way about him. They embraced each other, and from that day forward, they were inseparable. The two kingdoms were thrilled about the news of their future union, and they planned a grand wedding for Isabella and her prince. It was a magnificent ceremony, and everyone in the land celebrated the love between the two young royals. Isabella and the prince lived happily ever after, ruling their kingdoms with kindness and compassion, and their love story became a legend that would be told for generations to come. Years passed, and Isabella and the prince continued to rule their kingdoms with great success. They were loved by their people, who appreciated the way they had brought peace and prosperity to the land. Isabella had become an even more beloved figure, known not just for her charm and beauty, but also for her intelligence and wisdom. One day, a terrible threat emerged on the horizon. A neighboring kingdom, led by a cruel and ambitious king, declared war on Isabella's kingdom. The armies of the two kingdoms clashed in a brutal battle, and it seemed like Isabella's kingdom was on the brink of defeat. But Isabella was not one to give up. She rallied her troops, and with her strategic mind and her inspiring leadership, she turned the tide of the battle. Her army emerged victorious, and the enemy retreated. Isabella had saved her kingdom from destruction, and her people hailed her as a hero. The prince, who had fought bravely by Isabella's side, was overjoyed. He knew that he had chosen the right partner, someone who was not just beautiful and kind, but also strong and courageous. He looked at Isabella with love and admiration, and he knew that he would always be grateful for the day they had met. Together, Isabella and the prince continued to rule their kingdoms with fairness and compassion, never forgetting the lessons they had learned during their early days together. They knew that love, kindness, and bravery were the most powerful weapons against any threat, and they used them to create a world that was better for all. In the end, they lived happily ever after, their love story an inspiration to all who heard it. As the years went by, Isabella and the prince had children and watched them grow up to be kind and just rulers, just like their parents. The people of their kingdoms were happy, and the two kingdoms flourished under their leadership. But their happiness was not without its challenges. One day, a group of rebels rose up against Isabella's kingdom, seeking to overthrow her and establish their own rule. They were a fierce and determined group, and they had many supporters who were unhappy with the way Isabella was running the kingdom. Isabella knew that she had to act fast if she wanted to save her kingdom from disaster. She called upon her most trusted advisors and strategists, and together they came up with a plan to defeat the rebels. They would use diplomacy and kindness instead of force, offering the rebels a chance to talk and negotiate instead of waging war. Isabella met with the rebel leaders, listening to their grievances and trying to find common ground. She showed them the kindness and compassion that had made her famous, and slowly but surely, the rebels began to see her as a fair and just ruler. In the end, the rebels laid down their arms, and Isabella's kingdom was once again at peace. The people celebrated their queen's victory, and Isabella was hailed as a wise and courageous leader who had saved her kingdom from disaster. Isabella and the prince continued to rule their kingdoms with grace and wisdom, knowing that their love for each other and their people was the key to their success. They inspired generations to come, and their story became a legend that would be told for centuries. And even after they were gone, their legacy lived on, reminding everyone that love, kindness. I hope you enjoyed this story. And I wish you sweet dreams and a great night's sleep. Until the next story. Good night.